Following on from a couple of videos I've put out about the paint finish that we use, I thought the makers out there might be interested in some thoughts about how we then fit the work that we've pre-sprayed. So here we go, short video. I'm going to upload more details about the making of this project in a longer video. Now this was sprayed in our preferred Movac Sayalac 8099 finish. That's the water-based finish I've been raving about. It really gives an excellent finish. It's got a sheen level of 15, so when you order it, it's the 8099 15 that you order, and this has been mixed to the ever popular Farrow and Ball colours. It's the colour called Plummet, which I think is a really nice soft shade of grey, and it photographs very well. So a few tips on the installation. Now I heard when I was training an old joiner's maxim which says if you can't hide a joint then emphasise it. So when we come to a part that needs to be jointed because it's longer than the available material, when we were hand painting we would fill a seam like this, either with cork, or if we really wanted to try and make it seamless, maybe 2-part filler, sanded, over painted. But when you're pre-spraying parts you really can't touch up on site, because even if you brought a spray gun, if you spray that, you've got a little bit of feathered overspray beyond, and you kind of then have to respray the whole thing. And we think you get a better finish by spraying in advance when the boards are unassembled than assembling them together, compared to even spraying on site after installation. So if you have a join, what we've learned to do is to just not emphasize it too much, but accept that it's a join and make it a tidy join. So we even put a very slight chamfer, more of just a softening of the arris where those parts meet, and then you can be sure they come together and look right, rather than a very sharp meeting edge which looks like it's meant to be hidden but never fully is. So that's one thought. Now something that we've done on this, which is a new process to me, is to not put any fixings between the panels. Now my method for these kind of units has always been to make them in advance, so you've got a complete, you've got a complete unit there, a narrow one there, and then 2 more of that width, which we brought to site already assembled. I know some people will domino joint everything in place. It's just not how I usually work. So what I used to do was at these meeting edges put screws, 30mm screws between, which I would either wax fill and leave with a matching wax, fill with maybe 2-part filler, sand and over paint, or for lower value work we'd put these stickers on that I've talked about in another video. Now with this really high quality project, I just made the decision to put no fixings through because it's very hard to make them genuinely invisible. So we glued the joining edges, clamped them, and the other thing we did was behind these scribes here we used what they called space plugs, those orange expanding fixings, but without any screws going through. We just put them in with grip fill and jacked them tight, both sides, so that in effect the whole unit is jammed and wedged between the wall, and that helped to ensure that these joins were tight while the glue went off. We did also clamp them, and that's worked really well. I've always had a tendency to over-engineer things and put screws and glue and everything, and I think over the years I've eased it back to what's really necessary to get that balance and that compromise between solidity and the look that you've not tampered with. So I think often quite a light touch approach works. You don't want to overdo things, you don't want to overfill things, and that applies to the scribes as well. So I'm increasingly trying to avoid corking. I would always cork a gap like this, but on a darker colour especially, it often looks best just to get that scribe as tight as you can get it and leave it be. Which means taking more time, and it means making sure you've got good quality tools, even a good quality workbench. I've just bought the Festool MW1000s. If you're following me on Instagram you might have seen that. And that really helped in clamping pieces rigid at a convenient height to then trim them with the jigsaw and the power plane to get a really good finish. The only other thing was just to say that getting a really good finish involves very careful planning. And as you'll know, if you've been following my channel, we plan all these projects in Sketchup, so everything is detailed to the millimetre how it's going to be built, and that becomes particularly important with a corner arrangement like this, which was quite surprisingly difficult to detail right, so the door and the flap don't hit each other and the different levels are negotiated properly. So, oops, almost tripped on the couch. I think I'll leave it at that, apart from maybe just a few panning shots of the finish that we've achieved with this Movac paint. And as I say, I will upload another video going into more detail about the construction, including these doors which we had made by CNC, which I've also been talking about. Finally, just to say, any questions, do comment below, and if this has been helpful in any way, then please hit like and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to hear future videos about the making of fitted furniture. Thanks for watching. I'm Alistair Johnson at Freebird Interiors.